What is up guys, today I'm going to show you how to install a 4IS conversion rear tail light kit on your Lexus IS250, 350 or ISF. But this rear tail light kit may come with some challenges and I'm going to show you how to install it the right way. In the previous episodes, I installed the 4IS front conversion headlights as well as the front bumper kit, and the car looks absolutely stunning. And this Lexus is actually a project I'm building for the Driven Car Show, which is the largest Canadian auto show, and I have less than 2 weeks at this point to complete this build. So stay tuned and join me as I race to the finish line to complete this build. Alright, looking at the checklist for this build, the front headlight as well as the front bumper facelift kit is completely done. So now let's go ahead and look at the rear taillight conversion. And today for the rear taillights, I have this brand new set of 2024 IS500 style rear taillight kit for the Lexus 2IS to 4IS conversion. And this is gonna be my first time installing this. Inside the package, I also have the installation manual here, so it shouldn't be very difficult to understand, and after installation, the rear taillights should look something like this. I installed a backup camera earlier, and if you have one too, there is nothing to worry about because the idea is that this rear taillight conversion will have a long strip light connecting the trunk lights, but ideally, the thickness of the strip light should not interfere with the trajectory of my rear view camera. It may only cover a certain insignificant top portion of the camera, which will not have any effect on the functionality while in the reverse mode, and we will test this later on. To install the rear taillights, I'm going to remove this set of factory taillights from the trunk and then also remove the brake lights, which is very straightforward. While the trunk lights might turn out to be a bit difficult because I'm going to have to remove the carpet trim from the trunk. Plenty of tasks to complete, so let's get started. In order to remove these taillights, I have to remove these screws. I can either use a screwdriver or an 8mm, and once I remove this, I can remove this piece right here and this clip over here, and I can just move this cover and disconnect the cabling from inside. Okay, so now we have access to the rear side of this taillight. So we can go ahead and remove these 3 bolts. Also, before that, we can disconnect the plug from here. Just turn it counterclockwise. This way. Similarly, remove this one like this. Now I can go ahead and remove the carpet trim from here in order for me to remove this section of the tail light. Alright, so the carpet trim is out, and you don't technically need to remove the whole piece out, but I just wanted to show you clearly what we're working with. So this is one of the harness you have to disconnect from here. So by pressing on the clip here, you can remove this and then disconnect this clip from right here on the top. And then here you will have 2 bolts that you have to remove in order to remove this whole set. And there are going to be 2 bolts here that you have to remove, and this should come out easily. Alright, the trunk light is also out, and the same way I'll repeat on this side. Alright, the tail light and the trunk lights are out, and now I can go ahead and unbox this new series of taillights, and they were nice enough to send me an instruction manual right here. I'm just gonna go through this and start assembling this one by one. This is the main wiring harness that has to go on either side. So this is one set and this is another set. Basically this should be routed in here inside this, and that goes from here. I will have to remove this plastic trim from the trunk lid and route the wire through here, and it should come and stick in right here. So this will be the connecting wire that connects basically the animation for this taillight here and this one. So let me first go ahead and route this wire on this end and the other wire on this end. I can then start fitting on the other separate parts and finally end up with the long part. I am one of those people whose phones usually disappear in the Bermuda Triangle while driving. And that's because I've always dealt with phone mounts that just don't hold. Until today. Introducing to you the Mostly VMAG S1, the phone mount that locks in tight and never lets go. Using advanced vacuum suction and strong N55 magnets, it stays put through every bump, turn, and pothole. And the VMAG S1 is very practical. If I need to move it to another car or I want to use it at home, I just twist it to unlock it and use it wherever I want. Inside the box, you will get the user manual, wet and dry wipes, stick plate for textured surfaces, a metal ring for non-MagSafe phones, and 2 gel pads which are washable and reusable. The VMAG S1 is very simple to use. Just twist it to lock and twist it again to unlock, and simply place your phone over it. The magnetic hole is so strong that no matter how you drive, your phone will not fall from the holder. You can also stick it to any textured surface on your dashboard using the stick plate provided, or stick it to your windshield. If you're familiar with my channel, I try to build cars every other month, and I particularly like how it is very lightweight, foldable, and always ready to be swapped in my next car. Even if your phone is not MagSafe or it doesn't have a case that is MagSafe, you can use the provided metal ring and it should work perfectly with any phone. If you're a car guy like me and you want to shoot POV shots, this VMAG S1 is one of the best tools you need to have with you. You can stick it to your side windows, or if you have a sunroof, you can stick it above to record the perfect POV shot. Regardless of any road conditions or terrain, your phone will not drop from this holder. I'm gonna put a link in the description for you guys to check it out and let me know how it worked for you. Huge thanks to MSXTTLY for sponsoring today's episode. Now let's get back to it.
The wires are now navigated in through the plastic trim of these arms. You can either remove the whole thing, or you can do the same way I did on this one. You can just make a slight slit on the side of here and slide the wire through it and lock it in so that the wire is hidden away, and this comes out from here. And now I can go ahead and start installing the separate parts so that it's easier for me to go ahead and install the final big piece. So let's do this one first. So this one would probably be this. So this harness should go and retrofit with the original wire here, and this small black one should go ahead and fit with the small one right here, because that's the one that connects that small piece with the long trim on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these 4 bolts from here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We will not be using this again because this will just go in and sit directly, but we will be using these 3 bolts. And one of the reasons why I like the product from Mighty Tech Store is because they usually supply products which are ABS rated, and they always go through rigorous quality testing, and that is why I always trust their products. And before I put in the light, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this harness for the original bulb, and this will not be used anymore. So now I can go ahead and start putting the 2024 lights in. Now initially it might not seem like a snug fit in, and that is because of the foam behind it. But once I start bolting in the nuts, it will start fitting in and it will be back to shape. Alright, the light has now sat properly. And behind the lights, I went ahead and loosely tightened these nuts right here. Once I start tightening these without putting too much pressure, the light will start sitting in. And before that, I want to go ahead and connect these wires. The small black wire goes and connects here. As long as you find the right orientation, you should be good to go. There you go. And the white wire will go ahead and connect to this directly, just like that. And now I can go ahead and tighten these screws so that the light sets in properly. All right, so the light is now installed, and as you can see, there is no more gap. The screws made sure that it is tightened, and now let's see how it looks like. There you go. And this is actually the first time I'm seeing it myself, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. Now I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the same process on this end so that it looks from this to this. All right, both the tail lights are now installed. So now I'm gonna go ahead and install the big one. First, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this. Obviously, I don't want any dirt. And the idea is that the light should come over and stick right over here. Once I start placing it over here, because of the plastic shape of it, it may or may not sit directly, but I'm gonna have to slowly and steadily put the bolts in and start tightening it one by one on each side. And after that, I can directly connect each of those wires and then cover it up with the carpet trim. And before I put it in, I have to go ahead and remove these bolts. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then 4th one is this one right here. And there's also one right here. Once I remove that, I can easily put that back in. I have a 2007 model, and when I was installing the tail light, I found out the shape of my tail light housing actually has this bracket right here, which comes straight, and then there's a small indentation and then goes straight. But this is actually generically designed for the 2009 plus models, which is 2009, 10, 11, and 12. which has their taillights straight up from here, which means I might have to think about cutting this off or maybe even bending this with a plier. And same thing on the opposite side too. So right here, as you can see, the same thing, I need to also bend or maybe even cut, and also spray some black primer so it doesn't rust. And as you can see, here is the tail light, and this goes completely straight. There is no space for a bracket to go in right here, so which means this should be a straight path. And that is exactly what is also shown in the manual right here. As you can see, this model of the Lexus has this trunk light, which is completely in a perfectly oval shape as compared to this one that I have here. So to tackle this issue, what I'm trying to do is I want to get rid of this part right here. So I created a long indented line with my sharp knife here, and this indented line here will help me separate this bend here. And I'm going to go ahead and use my long plier, hold on to this and try to bend it along this straight line this way. So as you can see, now it is nicely bent, and I just have to continue that in a way and it doesn't come on the way of my light housing, and that is how you do it. So I just bent this one in, so the material is literally just bent inwards, and this material is also bent inwards. I'm gonna go ahead and test fit one side of the light first, just to see if it goes inside or not. If it does successfully, I'm gonna repeat the same process on the other end. All right, it seems like that trick did it, and as you can see, now it's set completely flush inside, and these screws are also going through the OEM holes. I just have to wiggle it a bit, and I don't have to worry about it right now. First I have to go ahead and fix on the other side, and then finally I can go ahead and start putting the nuts on these screws. This side is also done now. As you can see, it is all complete straight. So I went ahead and masked the whole surface around the light housing here. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray some sandable primer. So this sandable primer will help me stay away from rust and keep the trunk body protected. There you go. I just sprayed the sandable primer here and it looks absolutely good. Now I'm gonna wait for a couple of minutes so that this sandable primer dries completely. And once it's all matte, like here on the top, I'm gonna go ahead and fit the lighting in and start connecting the wire. Alright, I've test fit this one here and I've put some lock nuts right here. I'm gonna slowly start putting them in. I'm not gonna fully tighten this one. I'm gonna do it very slowly, some threading here, some threading on the other side. And once the gap starts to look completely flush, that's when I will remove all these bolts and put in the OEM ones, because that has the rubber covering on top of it. This part does not get covered under the carpet. The carpet only covers from here to the whole thing here, but this part is the naked part. The chrome bolts are fine too, but I like the OEM one, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that one. Alright, the lights are now fit in perfectly. It looks absolutely perfect. I went ahead and put the OEM bolts here, and the same thing on the other end. Now I'm gonna go ahead and connect this white big plug with this right here, and this plug with the small plug right here. And after that, finally, I can go ahead and tuck these adapters in. I'm thinking maybe one here and one here. I can stick these adapters with the double-sided tape provided already, and finally finish off by closing all the carpet and putting in all the clips and screws. And just like that, it is now stuck in here. So I stuck one of the adapters here and the other one right beside it, and I've zip tied it so that it's neat and tidy. And the same thing on the other side too. Don't mind this one. This is from the rear camera installation that I did earlier, and there's another video for that. Now I can go ahead and close this off with the carpet trip and put all the clips back wherever I took it from and complete the inner side of it. And the only final step remaining would be to peel out this double-side tape from this long tail, and then we can go ahead and see how it looks. Alright, I've put all the trims back into position, and so now moment of truth. There you go. Look at that. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Finally, I can go ahead and turn on the car and see what the brake lights do. I'm just gonna put the camera here and go ahead and turn on the car. And here's the look from the inside when we put the car in reverse. The camera really doesn't block everything here. There is this one small line of the rear lights here, which is the new extended long tail light, but the whole reversing camera is completely fine and I can see and navigate throughout.
Alright, I am super happy with the results. The lights turned out absolutely fabulous and the startup animation is phenomenal. I am definitely in love with these beautiful 4IS taillights as well as the front headlights from the previous video. This concludes today's episode, and in the next episode, I'm gonna completely transform my beat up wheels into fresh jet black wheels, so stay tuned, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you on the next one.